Congratulations! You are now the proud owner of the iGro kit, the most advanced irrigation starter kit. Now you can irrigate and fertilize your crops with the optimal diet they need automatically. Let's learn the components, assembly and operating, shall we? First, let's understand what is in the kit. Starting with the drip irrigation emitters. The Catif uniformed self-cleaning drippers are the working element of the kit. This particular drippers gives us 2.3 liters per hour water flow if working continuously. They give us outstanding flow uniformity over a wide pressure range, meaning all drippers gives the same amount of water regardless of height and distances. Your plants will get exactly the same water and fertilizer without exception. They also self-cleaning, meaning they flushes with water flow, minimizing clogging risk. Long life guaranteed. These drippers designed to be installed on a 20 mm polyethylene PE pipe. Next is the dosing pump, Fertigation. The dosing pump mixing fertilizer solution into the irrigation pipe delivers fertilizer with water proportionally to our desire in a constant mode. For the operation, we use the cheapest locally available fertilizer NPK. For example, 15-15-15 or 20-20-20, depends on the crop you grow. The fertigation working on water pressure, no electricity needed, ensuring long life of the components. This particular fertigation can give up to 1 cubic meter per hour, meaning with the 2.3 liters per hour drippers, we can irrigate maximum 130 meters of area. Other iGro kits and fertigation units have bigger working water capacity and can irrigate larger areas at once. The flow of water has to be followed by the arrows. The arrow should always point to the water outlet. Using the thread on the bottom, we can adjust the proportion of fertilizer that will be injected into the irrigation system. This particular dosing pump gives us from 0.2% up to 2%, meaning per 1 liter of water, it can give from 2 milliliter up to 20 milliliter of fertilizer solution, our choice. The dosing pump comes pre-adjusted to 2%. And we do have already a computation for you on how to make solution for your crop. We'll get to the solution preparation later in this tutorial. At the bottom, we have the dosing pump pipe and the filter. This will be inserted into the bucket of the water with the solution we will prepare for our crops. On top, we can control if we want to turn on or off the dosing pump. Green button pushed, meaning it's mixing fertilizer, while the red means only water passes through the system without mixing fertilizer. We recommend flushing the system once a week without a fertilizer, so the red is pushed. Both our crops and the system will benefit from it. Crops from a short stress without food, fertilizer, and the system will be cleaned with water. Again, long system life. Behind we have the bracket to install the dosing pump on a board made from your choice. We must ensure that a minimal height from the bucket of 30 centimeters for proper work. Also, please never open the top cap. As the dosing pump is mechanical, we don't want to mess something inside. It should be opened only with professional supervision. For more information on the fertigation unit, please visit the link at the description. Next is the automation. This particular iGro kit comes with smart Bluetooth automation controller combined with DC solenoid valve. The automation controls the water timing, the days of the week, hours, minutes and seconds we want our crop to be irrigated. It is operated by a 3-volt battery, which needs to be replaced once in a year on average. It is coming with a battery already, but when replacement is required, simply visit your nearby convenience store. The automation also have arrows and has to be installed with the arrow pointing towards the water outlet as the fertigation. Forget about waking up 4 AM to irrigate your crops. And yes, you allow yourself to take the trip you always wanted to for so long, as the irrigation will always happen like a Swiss clock. Next are the filters. The filters designed to clean the water from debris, protecting the system from being clogged. We got screen and disc filters. One after the water inlet before the fertigation, and another right after the fertigation. They also have arrows on them. Filters installed with the arrow pointing towards the outlet, water outlet, as the fertigation and the automation unit. Please pay attention. Both filters have arrows written on them, the disc and the screen. Accordingly, the arrows are pointed, so the vice versa. Each filter arrow is different. Please make sure what you install is correct. We always install the disc after the fertigation unit, and the screen is before the fertigation unit. Please remember that. We recommend cleaning the filter once every 6 months with toothbrush. Please don't use any metal brush because it will destroy the filters. Both must be brushed under slight water pressure. Screen inside and outside, and disc, each disc individually. Next is the manual valves, to turn on or off the system manually. We install one on the inlet of the water source and one after the water pump. If the water pump not installed, we can install only one valve at the water inlet. We will get to that. We recommend using water pump to reach the minimum water pressure needed of 2.5 psi or 2.5 bars. Please make sure you have a sufficient water pressure. If not, water pump or water booster is recommended. Areas with insufficient water source, recommended to use water tank. Also, for the 100 square meter iGro kit, we recommend to use have at least 1000 liters of water tank. This will ensure you always have water to irrigate your crops. But this is of course a recommendation only. Next are the tools, the puncher and the inserter. At first glance they look the same, but the inner component is the difference. One has a sharp circle knife to punch holes in the polyethylene PE pipe. The other have a plastic cap to insert the drippers into the polyethylene pipe. We can adjust the size of the pipe we are working with from 16 millimeters to 32 millimeters using the thread regulator on the top. We insert the pipe with the mark location to the dripper, press the puncher to make a hole, and immediately after, we are using the inserter to insert the dripper. Why immediately? Because polyethylene pipe holes tend to close few moments after you punch the hole. If we insert it after few moments or few seconds, the hole will not absorb the dripper properly, which will cause to leakage. The last components are the fittings. And we have 4 types of it. First are the triangles. This will be installed for both 20mm and 25mm pipes to connect our irrigation system. The elbow is installed at the pipe connecting the 25 and 20mm pipes. The caps are installed on the drip irrigation pipes to close the water circle, connecting to the 20mm pipe only. Next, we have an additional elbow connect to the unit with one side 25mm pipe and the other directly to the unit by a thread. And the last is the fitting connected only in the unit by thread in both sides. If we open the fitting inside, both the 20 and the 25mm have additional connector inside. This is what holding the pipe tightly to the fittings. We install it, the gray thread on the pipe first. Then we are using boiled water to heat the pipe for easier assembly, and we're pushing the smaller part into the pipe. After that, we're just connecting it, the gray thread, to the back of the fittings. Time for the assembly. First, we need 100 meters of 20mm pipe polyethylene with at least 1.2 millimeter of thickness. If we use thinner pipes, the drippers will be pushed out by the water pressure. And of course, we don't want that. And 12 meters of 25mm pipe, polyethylene pipe, with at least 1.2 millimeters of thickness. This standard computation for the 100 square meter kit is 10 meters by 10 meters length. But if your length is 20 meters by only 5, for example, you will need a different length of pipe. We hope this tutorial will help you understand, but you can always contact us for consultation. No worries, it's free. So, we can focus on 10 by 10 length with 100 meters for now, okay? Our next step is to cut the pipe every 10 meters. That we will have 10 pipes for 10 meters each. The 20mm. For the 25mm, we will cut every 1 meter. Now you will have 12 pipes, 1 meter each. Now we need to leave them loose on the ground for at least 24 hours. We are doing this to let the pipe straighter and softener. It will be easier to work with and more accurate. Next, while waiting the pipes to straighten, we assemble the unit. First, we assemble the long handle valve on the water inlet, water pipe or water tank, whatever you are using. After, we assemble the screen filter. Please make sure it's indeed the screen filter, and please follow the arrows. The arrows always point to the water outlet. Next, we assemble the screen filter into the water pump, if you have one. If not, please skip around 45 seconds to see how to assemble it on the automation directly. If we have water pump, we assemble the short handle valve on the pump and use thread to pipe fitting. One side into the valve, while the other 25mm PE pipe. Then we are cutting the desired length of the pipe we use, usually about 30 centimeters. Inserting the gray fitting on the pipe and dipping the pipe in boiled water to soften it. Then pushing the connector inside and assembling the thread back on the fitting. Next, we are doing the same to the other similar fitting. One side into the automation, while the other with 25mm pipe. Just follow the same procedure: gray, fitting, boiled water, connector, thread. If you don't have water pump, if your water pressure is above 2.5 psi or bar, we can assemble the screen filter directly to the automation unit with an additional manual valve or fittings. Just don't forget the arrows, and please make sure it says a screen filter on the arrow. Now we install the automation into the fertigation dosing pump by using the thread to thread straight fitting. Please make sure the automation arrow and the fertigation arrow are pointed to the water outlet. Next, we install the disc filter directly to the fertigation dosing. It's the filter with the additional gray threads on it. Don't forget the arrow towards the water outlet. The last step is the fitting installation. Use the thread and 25mm fitting directly to the filter in one side and cutting another 40 centimeters length of 25mm pipe. We're doing this to lower the system because we elevated it before, 30 centimeters, remember? And now we need to use another fitting to straighten the pipe. This fitting is both sides connected to 25mm pipe. So you need to cut another desired length of 25mm pipe, which will be used from the unit to the drip irrigation pipes. 20 centimeters or 20 meters, it is up to you and how you will install the unit. Closely to the drip lines or far away. We finished with the unit and back to the drip irrigation. Our pipes are soft and straight. Now we need to mark straight line on the 10 meters pipe And we are doing it to make it sure that all the drippers will be installed on one line. More of aesthetic look, but also to assure all drippers will be pointed on top of the soil and not buried inside. Although they are self-cleaning, we don't want to experiment, to test it. Same reason dropping our smartphone on purpose to check if the new case we bought it's working, right? Now, we mark the distances between the drippers we will assemble. It depends on the crop you are growing and the scheme of planting. Maybe you grow lettuce every 20 centimes or bell peppers every 50 centimes. Accordingly, you will mark the drippers. If you want continuous lines of irrigation, you need to install the drippers every 30 centimes between each other. And this is what we're going to do. After the marking of all 10 pipes, 10 meters each, we are ready to punch the holes and insert the drippers. Please prepare the drippers by your side and both inserter and puncher tools. Regulate the top thread on the tools to 20 mm and start punch the first hole on the mark you did earlier. Right after the punch, we use the inserter to insert the dripper. Please remember what we discussed earlier. We insert the dripper right away. Otherwise, if we wait, we might have a water leakage. I like to insert the drippers by hand. It's harder, but faster, in my opinion. It is your choice, as long as you insert them immediately after punching a hole. Do the same for all the 10 pipes of 10 meters each. Now we want to connect the drip line into the triangle fitting. Each triangle has two ways for 25 mm pipe and one way for the 20 mm. We're inserting the gray fitting into the pipe, dipping the tip in boiled water, and inserting the connector on the pipe. Then, simply connecting the thread on the triangle 20 mm inlet. Do the same to 9 drip lines, because the 10th pipe is connected to an elbow. One side 25 mm, the other side is 20 mm, as it's the last drip line of the system. Same process though, gray fitting on the pipe, boiled water, connector, thread. Now you should have 9 drip lines connected to triangles and one to elbow end. We need to connect them all together using the 25 mm pipe. Again, the standard land area for this kit is 10 by 10, meaning we want to connect 1 meter of pipe, 25 mm, between the triangles. But if your land is different, please feel free to connect it accordingly. 20 meters between each other or 30 meters between each triangle, it's up to your planting scheme. We assemble the 1 meter's pipe in the usual way. Gray fitting, boiled water, connector, thread. We do the same to all the drip lines we have. The last part of the pipe's assembly is the tip cap. The cap will close the pipe, preventing water leakage and maintain pressure in the system. By the end of each 10-meter pipe with drippers, we install the cap by the same principle. Gray fitting first, boiled water, connector, and thread. Do it for all the 10 pipes of 10 meters each. But don't close the caps just yet, as there is debris from the holes we made to install the drippers. After you assemble the system, you run the water for 2-3 minutes with the caps opened
Then stop the water and close the caps. This will ensure no unnecessarily clogging.
The assembly of the kit is done. Now is the operation. We need to learn how to make this solution of fertilizer for our crop and adjust the settings of the automation and the fertigation unit. Go to the link at the description. There you will find a fertilizer calculator. Choose the crop or the family crop you work with, choose the fertilizer you are using, and voila! You have the formula to make the fertilizer solution. Take 10 liters of bucket, preferably with a cap, so no dirt will accumulate inside. Take the NPK fertilizer suggested and mix the quantity with 10 liters of water.
This amount will be enough to fertilize our crops for 7 to 10 days. Same process of mixing fertilizer with 10 liters of water has to be done again aftermath. Of course, the missing elements will still be missing, but for this, we need to have another dosing pump for NPK corrections. Same with the pH, acid regulation. But if AgroTech is new for you, this should be enough.
Make sure the percentage on the fertigation set on 2% and insert the fertigation dosing pump to the bottom of the bucket. Please also make sure that the green button on the dosing pump is pressed inside. Your fertigation is ready to use. Now for the automation. Please download the IRI app or for smartphone or scan the QR code both on the box or in the manual. Or just type IRI in your App Store or Android store and download it. Open it and accept Bluetooth usage. Tap Connect to Controller and press the physical top button on the automation controller. You will hear a click coming from the controller. Now you can see your new controller's name. Tap on it and adjust the watering plan. If it's not working, tap on the Turn On button on top. Tap on Edit Plan, choose the days you want it to work by tapping on them. I choose every day. Next is the time we will irrigate. Start 1. I choose 5 AM because the water pressure is the strongest at early morning. Tap on Duration. This is how long it will irrigate. I choose 10 minutes. But because I grow tomatoes, it is not enough for me. So I need another cycle of irrigation. Tap on plus at start and choose the new cycle. I choose also 5 PM for 10 minutes duration. Maybe it's not enough for my crops. I can add another cycle. It's up to you. But you can have up to 6 cycles. When finished, tap on Apply and Save to save the plan. You then will have a pop-up when the water will start, and you can see the settings of the water plan you choose. By tapping on Manual, you can open or close the irrigation manually. There are more options to control the water through the app, as weekdays, window, special days, or interval days. Please read the manual you got together with the iGro kit. How to calculate the water your crops need. This is a bit advanced, but we will keep it simple. You have installed drippers of 2.3 liters per hour. Meaning, if we open the water for an hour, our crops will get exactly 2.3 liters each. If we open it for 2 hours, our crops will get exactly 4.6 liters each. As we know agronomy, we know exactly how much water our plant needs. And this will be the exact dosing we want to give to them. Not more nor less. Optimal diet. Just the perfect amount. This, of course, ensures highest yield, top quality, and minimal water and fertilizer usage. It can only be achieved through AgroTech, our iGro kit. Now going back a bit, there is one common mistake some farmers are doing with the smart Bluetooth automation. This is not working properly for them. Please pay attention. If we unscrew the controller from the solenoid valve, you will see a small metal part with a spring on it. Please make sure it is out position, like this. Don't worry, it's magnetic. If you push it too hard, it will click, and this is problematic. Take it out again and gently release it into the hole. Then gently screw it back to the solenoid valve. Don't tighten it too much, as if you hear the click, it went inside too hard again and must be adjusted again. Please pay attention to that. In conclusion, we learned all the components of the iGro kit. We learned to assemble it and to operate every part of it, from manual valves to automation, fertigation, irrigation filters and fittings. Then we learned to calculate the fertilizer through AgroSheriff's software and learned to calculate water dosage to our beloved crops. We covered 100% of the 100 square meter iGro kit tutorial. Bigger iGro kits have some few additional fittings to assemble, but this will not be a challenge for you, as you already know the general knowledge now. But if you have any difficulties, you know we are here for you, both for aftercare services and consultancy free of charge. Simply contact us through any chosen social media, website, email or phone. Think AgroTech. Think AgroSheriff.